Hello everybody, and I'm going to take this short minute right here to introduce you to a new series that I'm going to be having going on, and that is how you can make your chainsaw more powerful / faster without having cool shit like a lathe. This is a Stihl MS290, I think. Yep, there it is, 290. It's 56 cc's, and it is a clamshell saw. It is very, they sold a lot of these. They sold a lot. And honestly, I mean, I don't like them, but I can completely see they're a good saw. You know what I mean? You gotta understand, you know, just because I don't like something doesn't mean I'm stupid enough to think that it's trash, you know, but this is a fine, perfect saw for like a farmer to keep in his truck kind of thing. It's a fine saw. It's just, you know, I like a lot more power than these things are capable of delivering. But that doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to methodically, step by step, go through, and I'm going to show you guys how you at home can make this saw right here faster. And most everything that I'm going to do is going to be apply for everything, you know. So we're going to start off, first thing is with this chain. That's what today's test is. We're going to showcase how you can make a saw faster with the chain. This is set up with a 16-inch 60 drive length 3/8 full chisel bar and chain. It is a Stihl, what do they call this? An RS 23 RS? No, 33 RS? Yeah, 33 RS. It's the 3/8. So, and it's, like I said, full chisel, no safety rakers, nothing like that. It was brand new, but I then used this saw to take apart some shelves, and I hit a nail. And so I had to sharpen it, which sucks, but I did my damnedest, I did my very best to sharpen it on my grinder and mimic cut of the factory. You know, it's at 22 degrees. This way, yep, and at 50 degrees this way. So 22 and 50 is where I was at, and I think that I did a fair job. You know, it's cutting, but to be truthful, it's probably cutting about like a cheap chain that you would buy from Tractor Supply. Hey, but anyways, let's get started with it. Okay, so here we go. We got, I don't know what that is. I think we'll call that spalted maple. It's not in the best shape in the world. I know, but it ain't rotten. It is pulpy up there, but whatever. This is what we have. Now I'm going to go do a proper hand filing on this chain and see if we made any, how much of a difference we make. I got nothing against the grinders. I've just never been able to get a really good, fast grind on them. I don't know the secret. Every time I think I learned the secret, turns out I was wrong. No, I got it wrong. So I can't get a really good edge with the grinder. I just can't do it. But hand filing, I can. If you're the opposite way, do it your way. Do it your way. All I'm wanting to prove here is learn how to sharpen a fucking chain. People told me for years. It took me years to learn it. And finally I got it. And so now I can say the same damn thing. Okay, nothing super special. All we're doing is getting the profile that we want. I'm not going to do any digging into the gullet or anything like that. I'm just going to proper sharpening. Okay, let me see if I can get the camera located someplace else so that you can get a better view. Okay, with this, hopefully you can see it. Can you see that gap in between the file and the top of the tooth? That's because whenever I grinded this, I didn't get that gullet fur enough back. All right, so it's not coming into contact with the file. Now on the grinder, it's fine. I hit that edge. I hit it, but it's not, and it was cutting. It's just not cutting good. But we're going to change that. That's it. We're done with that tooth. There you go. I don't know what I'm doing wrong on the grinder. Literally, I don't know. Okay, we're back, all sharpened up. Let's see if we made a difference. Is it faster? I don't know, probably. But I didn't touch the rakers, and as soon as I put it in there, I was like, I should have hit those rakers. I'll go back and hit the rakers. Okay, so I touched up the rakers. I barely removed anything, all right? It's very important not to take too much off the rakers, especially with a weak little thing like this. It's only 56cc clamshell. They were never thought of as powerful saws by anyone. So here we go. Did it make a difference? I don't know. Honestly, don't know if any of this stuff is making a difference. It's so damn slow. So anyways, now we're going to do the coup de grace, and we're going to put the chain that should be on this saw on it. In no world should a bone stock 290 have a 3/8 full chisel chain on it. At least that's my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw on a 325 chain and see if it cuts any faster with that. Okay, so forgive the noisy fan because I have my fan going to bring fresh air in here. The only heat I got going on in this shop is, I'm trying to get it so you can see it. You got to get that C-clip off of there. And the way we do that is we put a screwdriver in there, we get a finger on there so that it doesn't go flying, we twist the screwdriver. Oh, I'm gonna have to do it so that I can see it and you guys can't. Come, ow, ow! Okay, there we go. Got it. All right. Anyways, my only heat is gas heat, and if I don't get fresh air in here, well, it's a problem. All right, we got to get that off of there. Need some pliers. There we go. All right, so this being a cheap saw, it has just a regular plain old spur sprocket. That's what they call this. We got to replace this with a rim sprocket setup. All right, so I'm going to dig around and see if I've got one of these drums in my parts, which I probably do. Okay, so I did not have the right parts. Should have known better, but I didn't. However, there's this cool thing online called Amazon. Okay, we're a little sticky around this shaft right here. So we're gonna take this opportunity to just clean it up a little bit with some carb cleaner. Nothing special, just get your paper towel wet and clean it off. It's no longer sticky, it's nice. Now the new bearing, all right? I like to go ahead and take a little bit of grease and pack in there. It actually doesn't take much. However, to get it inside, you know, all of the little roller bearings, you got to really kind of get sloppy, you know? Let me slide it on there. Remove the excess, clean up your fingers. That's what they're called. There's an A in there. Fingers. There it is. All right, so this is the old setup. We had a spur sprocket, and we're going to change it out to a rim sprocket. The big deal is this is a 3/257. The old one was a 3/8 and the diameter is going to be quite a bit smaller for the 3/25. It's best to look at this. This is a 7-pin 3/8. This is the 3/25 7-pin that we're going to switch it out to. Look how much smaller that 3/25 is. Now, will you lose chain speed? No, you'll gain chain speed because this thing right here is too weak to pull that big sprocket, all right? And so we're gonna go to this, and I guarantee it's gonna be faster because this saw should have never had that big 3/8 sprocket on it. It's too weak for that. I know there's gonna be a lot of you guys that'll probably go, oh, it's all about how you file your chain. No, it's not. I'm telling you, this saw doesn't have enough balls to pull that big sprocket. It needs that small 3/25 sprocket. You watch, I'm going to throw a 3/25 bar and chain on this now. I guarantee it's going to run better. It's going to bog less. I'm going to be able to push harder on it, and it'll probably be faster in the cut as well because I can actually utilize the saw a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, that was a pain in the A, but ultimately it happened. So here we go. We're all set up with a 23 RS chain, which is your 3/25 full chisel chain from Stihl with a 7-pin 3/25 sprocket. It's actually pulling it like it should. It feels like it has a tiny amount of power. Here we go, so here's the speed cut. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's not, whatever. It feels much better because it actually has some gearing to where it can pull that chain through the wood. And so there you have it. First step to making your saw perform as good as it can is figure out your chain situation. Not only do you have to know how to sharpen a chain, you also need to run the right chain. And in many cases, if you're a homeowner out there and you're wanting to get more performance out of your little homeowner saw, all right, knowing what chain you should be running is first step. All right, so next up, we'll discover muffler mod, or maybe a carburetor mod. Probably muffler mod next step. Did it make a difference? I don't know. Here we go, so here's the speed cut. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's not.
Did it make a difference?
Whatever, it feels
I don't know.
much. Here we go, so here's the speed cut. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's not. Whatever, it feels much better because it actually has some. Okay, so there you have it. You're looking at, hey, you can see the little thing over here. You're looking at from the very beginning with a crappy sharpened 3/8 chain, which I gotta say, probably 50% of people using a chainsaw are running a crappy chain. You know, they just don't know any different. They just don't know any different. So anyways, I mean, I was there too. You were there. We all were. So anyways, crappy chain and an inappropriate size for that saw. Stihl actually put out those saws with a 3/8 chain. You could probably get them with a 325 as well, but they definitely came from the factory with a 3/8 chain on them. And that is a dumb move. Just like it was a dumb move on Husqvarna's part to put the 55 Rancher out with a 3/8 chain. There in no world should a saw like that have a 3/8 chain. The frickin' Poland 5020, it should not have a 3/8 chain on it. It's silly. And what they're doing is they're just playing up on people's ignorance. And they see that big chain and think, wow, it's going to cut good. Because it looks impressive on a saw. You know, it does. Anyways, whatever. So we go from a crappy sharpened 3/8 chain to a out of the box 325 chain, and literally it's over 100% faster. So you're, which 100%, anyways, it cuts in less than half the time. Okay, so the original time was like 16 seconds and something, whereas the 325 chain was down to like 7.5 seconds, something along those lines. And so literally you're cutting twice as fast. All right, and even whenever I went back and sharpened the 3/8 chain with the proper sharpening, the saw wasn't enough to pull it. It couldn't pull it, and so you could hear the saw dragging, right? And so it's not cutting like it should be cutting, and so therefore it's still faster. And everything's faster with the 325 chain on it, just about. So, you know, I mean, Eric at the Michigan race was running 325 on all his saws, all the way up to 395. The Husqvarna 395 reported had a 325 bar and chain on it. And it cut like lightning. Anyways, the little saws like this that are underpowered, there is no way you should be running a 3/8 chain on that thing. So I think a proven point. First step is to learn how to sharpen your chain, and then also, if it's within your means, go ahead and buy whatever you need to set it up to a 325. With me, I already had a 325 bar. I already had a 325 chain. All I needed to do is buy that clutch. It was a made in China clutch, and it was the clutch drum is what I got. Actually, no, I got the whole clutch, and I think it was like $13. $13. Now, I will say, watch out if you actually have a 290, or actually anything you have. Order it with the sprocket. With the sprocket. Because I got this one right here, and I didn't put it in the video because it's getting too long, but I ordered the setup, and it came with a 3/8 sprocket. I was like, no big deal. I've got a bunch of 325 sprockets laying around here. Well, I didn't know it, but the MS290, at least the drum sprocket that I got, it takes the really small rim sprockets, like the rim sprocket for a 40cc saw, you know, like a top handle saw, the little ones. Like you have your standard, which that's going to fit like a Stihl 044. That's your standard, and that goes way up and down to about 60 cc's, right? It's going to fit your Husqvarna 61, 266, 372, all of those. Then you go to your small, and your small, that's going to be on saws like the Stihl MS290 and the Husqvarna 55 Rancher, 346 XP, stuff like that. That's your small. And then you have your, I don't know what they even call it, like micro or extra small. I don't know what they call it. Fucking tiny. That's like reserved for like your top handle saws and your like saws that are like under 40 cc's. I do know the MS250 uses it. Anyways, well, as odd as it seemed to me, that drum that I got for this MS290 took that little teeny tiny spur or rim sprocket. So I had to go through a mess there. That's why in the video you saw me go, that was a pain in the A. Anyways, but I would recommend ordering with the rim sprocket that you're going to use. That way it just makes it easier. You got it. But yeah, there we go. Next up, I guess maybe I'll have to do it at the same time, the muffler mod and the carburetor, because you got to get the limiters off of the carburetor in order to properly adjust the carburetor for the muffler mod. So maybe I'll do those two together. I don't know, but that's the next step in this process. And so far, we have already made the saw. I don't know, somebody do the math for me. I mean, we have already made the saw a lot faster just by switching out to a 325 chain. So that's good.